Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. It's the time a lot of people have been waiting for. We've got massive sales with Amazon Prime Day, and we've got Black Friday coming up very soon. We're going to go through 3 incredible builds to build during these sales and get the most value out of your dollar. We'll start off with an $800 1440p gaming PC that just about anybody can build. We'll jump up to a $1,200 mid-range gaming PC for 1440p or 4K, and we're going to finish off with a $2,000 4K absolute destroyer. If you get value out of this video, please give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by Fantic and their E2 Ultra Precision Screwdriver Kit. Perfect for PC builds, the E2 Ultra packs 50 magnetic S2 steel bits in a pop-up storage tower. Made from durable aluminum alloy, dialed through 5 torque settings up to 0.6 Newton meters, spinning at 270 RPM for quick, precise installs. The E2 Ultra's versatility is perfect for service of tablets, phones, watches, laptops, and small appliances. And the E2 Ultra easily recharges via USB-C. To get yours now, click the link in the description, use the Amazon coupon, and input my code PCE2 Ultra for an additional 12% off. Let's talk about those sales, starting off with Amazon Prime Big Deals Day. That's Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October 8th. I'm filming just a day or so before that because Fantastic, which is Newegg's competing sale that starts on Monday, October 6th, goes all the way through Sunday. At the same time, Best Buy has their Techtober sale, again, starting on Monday, going through Sunday, and Walmart obviously getting into it as well. All these retailers sell PC parts and electronics like gaming monitors, gaming keyboards, things like that. Walmart goes from Tuesday until Sunday. Of course, we're going to have early Black Friday sales starting around the end of October, and that's going to develop into Black Friday proper on November 28th. Now, that is pretty late in the month. It has to do with the Thanksgiving American holiday, and it has to do with how many Thursdays there are in a month. I will caution you, every year we see this, GPUs will sell out by the time we get to Black Friday. My strong recommendation, if you're going to build a gaming PC this year, buy your stuff right now. Of course, in our best CPU and best GPU videos this month, we went through what GPUs and CPUs I expect to go on sale and have combo deals, so check those out for more. Let's jump into that $800 1440p gaming PC build. Now listen, I finished out $793.84, but I am doing this before all the big sales happen, and in fact, a lot of the prices on stuff, the retailers jack them up just so that they can lower things later and make certain things look like sales out there. You should be able to do this. I'd say probably around $750 if you do get some good deals out there, maybe even a little bit cheaper. I'll also show you how to change out the GPU if you're more like the $700 range out there. But you're should get phenomenal value out of this. Now let's jump into what else the GPU. Basically, you have one option. Realistically, one option here if you want to get super high frame rates at 1440p at this price point. Honestly, go with the RX 9060 XT 16GB. I went through in our best GPU to buy in October why this is basically stomping its competition, which is the RTX 5060 Ti, which for even a basic model, you're paying $429 for right now. It's $80 difference. Take this one instead. Now, in terms of sales, what are we looking at? I don't expect that the GPU, this 9060 XT 16GB, might get much cheaper than $349, but I do expect maybe some of the more premium models might come down to $349. So go ahead and pick the best one for you. The only thing I will say about the 5060 Ti 16GB is we did see at Walmart last month for a very brief time, one model on for $379. At $379, if there's only about a $30 price difference, I would definitely consider getting the 5060 Ti 16GB for no other reason than DLSS4 has wider game adoption. Again, it's equal technology to FSR4, but it does have wider game adoption out there. I'd probably pay about $20 or $30 up, but I definitely wouldn't pay $80 for that. In terms of overall FPS, what can you expect at 1440p? This is the TechSpot RX 9060 XT 16GB review. You can basically see the 5060 Ti 16GB and the 9060 XT tied neck and neck. You could also consider the 7700 XT, that's a 12GB GPU. I have seen it floating around, at least in the US, for close to $300. Honestly, though, I do think FSR4, the upscaling technology, or DLSS4, is worth it over FSR3. I would probably pick that up, and you do get 4 extra gigs VRAM. This is really good frame rates, and remember, this is at ultra details. I'd recommend you turn it down to high for even more FPS. Of course, if you want to do this even a little bit cheaper, you could come down to the Intel Arc B580 12GB GPU. It's still enough for 1440p gaming. You do lose some frames, obviously, but Not everybody's got the same amount of money, and the one I would pick up, you could either get the Intel Limited Edition or you can get the Onyx Odyssey model. Right now over at Newegg for $249, and I do suspect we might see some discounts on these GPUs. For the rest of the platform, we have a lot of options here. If we want to spend like $150 more, we can go Ryzen AM5, and if that's what you want to do, skip to the next build. We basically use that in the next build. But if you want to hit this $800 price point, your options are essentially the LGA 1700, that's 12th, 13th, or 14th gen Intel on the budget side with DDR4 RAM, or an AM4 CPU like the Ryzen 5600. The difference between them is this platform right here is going to have future upgradability because you're going to drop in a 14600K in the future and be able to have Ryzen 7600X like gaming performance. Unfortunately, the AM4 X3D CPUs like the 5800 X3D completely sold out, so there's no upgrade platform. That's why I'm now recommending this on my budget builds. Now, this is a great CPU. The i5-12400F comes with an included stock cooler, as does most of the Ryzen 5600, 5600 CPUs. If you do upgrade this to a 13400 or 14400, those stock coolers not the greatest. I do recommend a Budget Tower air cooler. For the motherboard, we just want a cheap B series motherboard, B660, B760. You might even find a Z series motherboard on sale. If you do, feel free to grab it. $89 for the Asus B760M-AYW Wi-Fi D4. Phenomenal board. It's really all you need. It's got 4 high-speed USB ports and 2 lower-speed USB 2.0 ports on it. Really not much else to say about this motherboard. The VRMs on it will support a 14600K in the future, so we absolutely love it. If you go Ryzen instead here, you're just looking for a cheap B550 motherboard, I'll leave a full Ryzen build also linked down in the video description. Whether you go Ryzen or Intel, the builds from here on out are the same. We want 2 by 16 gigabyte DDR4 3200 CL16 RAM, so 32 gigs total. 3600 CL18 is also fine. Unfortunately, DDR4 RAM price has gone way up, and that's because they're not making a lot of it anymore. $71 used to be $40 just a couple months ago, so if you want these, I'd buy them very soon during the early Black Friday period. Don't wait for the price to go up. For the storage, we just want to get a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. Budget drive is absolutely fine. There's no real benefit to anything else for gaming. $50 to $60 is what we're looking to spend. I like the Team Group T-Force G50 1 terabyte here, Silicon Power UD90. I know some people keep telling me that drive runs a little hot. That's fine. If you want this drive instead, feel free to pick it up. $50 to $60 is what you're looking to spend. Don't spend too much. For the case you have a lot of options, I've decided to go with one of my favorite, which is the BitPhoenix Nova Mesh. It's a micro ATX case. It's got 3 included ARGB fans, comes in black, comes in white. It's about $60. Okonos also makes a number of really good, more kind of budget-focused cases out there that we've used in the past. Check out our best PC case 2025 video for even more options. And then for the power supply, a PVA Prestige 600 watt, just holding up the budget end out there. I do expect we will see some sales on some other PSUs. Unfortunately, there's like a $30 or $40 difference between this and some of the other ones. And yes, this is C tier rated on the SPL PSU tier list. It's nothing to write home about, but why spend extra money on a budget build when you don't have to? I like this PSU. All told for $793.84. Remember, that is before any discounts on Prime Day, on Fantastic Sale, or any combo deals you find out there, or even early Black Friday sales, obviously. So I expect that you'll be able to build this for quite a bit cheaper, but this is going to give you phenomenal frame rates at 1440p, and it's got future upgradability baked in. Let's jump into that $1,200 1440p gaming PC builder. Honestly, you could do 4K with this pretty easily. And remember, I'm doing this before all the sales, Amazon Prime Day, Fantastic, the early Black Friday sales. You will likely be able to do this a lot cheaper. I finished out at $1,175.81. There's one deal in here I'm taking advantage of, and there are some GPU price cuts that I told you were likely going to happen. We're already seeing that right now. I think we're going to see even more. Let's jump into what else the GPU. I went with the RX 9070 non-XT, the 16 gigabyte version for $549. I told you it was going to come down in price. Here it is, $549. This is the ASRock Challenger model. Just note on this one, by the way, this light bar here, that's not ARGB, it's just an LED. You can turn it off, but you cannot control the color of it. Maybe that's a deal breaker for you, maybe it's not, but $549 is its MSRP, finally hitting that, and I suspect we may even see some additional price discounts in the coming days on it. 16 gigs of VRAM, FSR 4. I think this is a great performer. Your NVIDIA option here is the RTX 5070 12 gigabyte. Now at MSRP at $549. In fact, you can even find one for like $7 cheaper out there, although I think this is a slightly nicer model than the more basic model that you get for $542. And this is the Asus Prime model. There's a ton of these out there. There's the MSI Shadow. There's tons and tons at $549. And the reason is 12 gigs of VRAM. People really have gotten the message that maybe that's not enough for 1440p, including higher end ray tracing, because that's NVIDIA's claim to fame, but this GPU does run out of VRAM at high settings 1440p when you're doing those high level ray tracing workloads. So it can't really claim that, and it's slightly slower than the 9070, but if you want to go this route, it's certainly available. Of course, one thing to consider here is the 9070 XT. We are seeing price drops down to $600, actually $39, because now you got a $10 promo code on top of the $649 price cut. I told you that AMD likes to make it rain with the GPUs and with the CPUs during Prime Day, during Black Friday. We're already seeing that. This is down $50 or at least $20 or $30 from last month. Now, this is a considerably faster GPU. You probably have to throw in another $100, make this more like a $1,300 build, but we'll see what kind of FPS you get. This is the Tech PowerUp RX 9060 XT review, 16 gigabyte. I just want to show you the relative FPS difference here. What we were looking at before, around 70 to 75 FPS for the 5060 Ti and 9060 XT. We're actually going to scroll way up here to the 5070 and the 9070. And look at that, quite a bit more FPS, 114 average FPS for the 9070, about 108 average FPS for the 5070. If you want to go up even further to the 9070 XT, 125 average FPS. Now, Hardware Unboxed has done some testing showing the 9070 XT now seems faster in at least the games that they test than it was at launch. You can take that into account. Also, the 9070 likely a little bit faster as well. But huge step up from our previous build. For the rest of the platform, I really like AM5 here. I know the i5-14600K is likely going to be on sale for $149. If you want to go that way, I'll include an alternative build for the CPU, the i5-14600K, and a B760 or Z series motherboard out there with DDR5. But I strongly recommend AM5. You're going to get future upgradability out of it. And honestly, we are likely to see major price discounts. AMD loves to make it rain on the Ryzen 5 CPUs in terms of the discounts out there. The 7600, 7600X, 7500F is another good alternative. Right now, the 7600X is $180. It's probably the one I would go with. But the 9600X during July Prime Day got all the way down to $156. To me, if there's like a $15 difference, I'd probably pick up the 9600X, especially if I'm going to go with a higher end GPU. Great thing about these AM5 Ryzen 5 CPUs is you don't need much to cool them. The Cooler Master Hyper 212 Pro, really any budget tower air cooler will do here. I like this one at $18. It just looks really cool, I think. It's got a great ARGB fan on it, comes in black. If you want to get like the SE214XT, the id cooling one instead, or if you want like a different color, I'll leave some options linked down in the video description. For the motherboard, we have tons and tons of options. Right now, the ASRock B850M Pro A Wi-Fi, one of the best, at least on paper, motherboards out there for B850 is on super sale at $119. Really hard to resist. I know some of you out there will not buy an ASRock board based on what's going on with the X3D CPUs. If that's the case, I like the Gigabyte Eagle right now at $149. Check out some of the options in our Best Ryzen Motherboard 2025 Fall Update video that we just released. For the RAM, this is one area where prices are going up, and it's basically due to AI. You can thank your AI overlords out there. AI data centers are massively buying up storage and RAM like crazy. So prices of RAM have consistently gone up, and they're probably going to spike here in another 3 or 4 months. So just keep that in mind. If you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll build next year, the cost is probably going to be higher. This is probably going to be some of the cheapest deals that you find. Now, this is before any deals. I do still expect maybe a couple of deals out there. $99 for DDR5 6000 CL30. This is a 32 gigabyte kit, Patriot Viper Venom. It's non-RGB, but you can get an RGB one for like $10 more. For the storage, we're just gonna go with a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD here, the Clevcraft C910. Really not much to say. It's a great budget drive. It's just an alternative to the G50, to the UD90, and a number of other like Crucial P3 drives out there. Good performer for $57. For the case, I decided to switch it up. You can go with the same case we used in the previous build. This is a Micro ATX motherboard. I decided to go with the Micro ATX case. So I like the Thermaltake View 170 TG. I like it a little bit better than the Okonos Aqua 3 that's like $6 cheaper, just because it doesn't include extra fans, but it includes additional fan placement. So it has 2 intake on the side, 1 here on the rear exhaust, and you still can put additional fans up at the top if you want, or like a liquid cooler if you want to go with a cheap liquid cooler, 240 millimeter if you want. $69 is a great price for this case. For the PSU, this is a tough spot of the market. I would really prefer to pick up a 650 watt like B tier rated unit out there for like $60, but there's nothing currently on the market. Fingers crossed for those sales out there. So right now, the Montech Century 2 850 watt, it's A tier rated on the SPL PSU tier list. It's only $85. I know we don't need 850 watts, but my goodness, it feels like they're giving it away for free. All told, $1,175.81. We are going to get an amazingly performative 1440p gaming PC, or honestly, if you go with one of the 16 gigabyte GPUs out there, this is easily 4K capable across all titles. And we're going to get super good frame rates, including that we're going to get future upgradability here on the AM5 platform, and we're going to set ourselves up for the future. Let's jump into that $2,000 4K destroyer of a PC that you can build on Amazon Prime Day. And again, I'm doing this before all the big discounts out there. I will go through and I share with you which items I think are going to get significant discounts. And we're going to go with a banger of a GPU. If you want to spend just a little bit less money, maybe like $1,800, $1,700, I'll show you some things you can switch up to kind of fit it within your budget. Let's start off, where else is the GPU? Now, I went with the MSRP RTX 5080 for $999. Now, some of you might be, Jason, I thought you can get a 9070 XT for like $649. You can. We'll talk about options in just a second. I decided to go big or go home with this one. You can decide whether or not the additional money spent is worth it. So I went with the Asus RTX 5080. This is the Prime version. There's like 4 or 5 different ones at MSRP right now. Will we see any price discounts on these? NVIDIA is not great about making it rain, especially at the higher end of their GPUs. You probably will see a little bit of price movement, but just as likely they may sell out. Now, alternative number 1 is just drop down to the RTX 5070 Ti, 16 gigabyte. You can pick up just about a lot of these models for $749 right now over at Newegg. Will we see big discounts on these? No, probably though the same kind of discounts you're going to see on the RTX 5080. And then of course your next option is to drop down to the 9070 XT 16 gigabyte for about $650 to $700, and that's before discounts. Now, I will say, of the 3 GPUs I've just mentioned, this is the one I expect the biggest discounts on if and when they come. AMD typically does make it rain, but we'll have to wait and see for those discounts. But right now you can pick it up anywhere from $639 to about $700 depending on which model you want. So how much FPS can you expect? Well, this is the TechSpot RX 9070 XT review. Look at that, the 5080 is the top card here. They don't have the 5090, and 5090 is quite a bit faster. Remember, the 4090 is also faster than the 5080, but 141 average FPS at 1440p. This is 18 games at higher ultra details. Nothing to sneeze at. That's really, really good out there. Remember, if you turn this down to high, if you go to competitive titles like CS2, you're going to get way, way more frames out there. 9070 XT and the 5070 Ti are roughly tied. Hardware Unboxed, aka TechSpot here, retested. They found the 9070 XT is actually slightly faster than the 5070 Ti in the suite of games that they tested on launch day. So you can kind of consider there, it's about 15 FPS average for the 5080 in terms of its advantage. Taking a quick look at 4K, if you want to consider 4K, the RTX 5080, really good 4K card, 86 average FPS, and honestly, if you also went high-end ray tracing, the 5080 is really, really good at that. 5070 Ti is not bad either, tends to really outperform AMD in those heavy path tracing, whereas AMD has caught up quite a bit in lighter ray tracing workloads. For the rest of the platform, honestly, it's hard to get away from the 7800X 3D. This is a phenomenal gaming CPU for the vast majority of you out there. Yes, if you're going to go with an RTX 5090, or if you're like, Jason, I had to have another $100 to spend, I can't get to the 5090 from the 5080 with that money, but I could go to the 9800X 3D. That's fine. Sub in the 9800X 3D, but I think this is a really good value gaming CPU because you're going to get most of the performance out of these GPUs, like 99.9%, and it's going to not break the bank. $359 is what it's going for right now. I do suspect we see some small price discounts. $340 is what it got down to on Amazon Prime Day in July. You might also see some bundles. We saw some bundles at Newegg where they included like a 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler. They have it right now. However, the price is a little higher than I'd like, but keep your eye out for those discounts. For the cooler, I just decided to throw in an all-in-one liquid cooler. I like the id Cooling FX 360 Infinity Mirror. This does come in white as well if you want to do an all-white build instead. We've used this in one of our recent builds. We liked it quite a bit. pretty quiet in terms of overall noise, and it looked amazing. For the motherboard, I love the ASUS TUF Gaming B650E- Plus Wi-Fi. I call this the best value premium Ryzen motherboard out there right now. Basically what they did is they took their older B650 motherboard and they upgraded it. They gave it better styling, they gave it upgraded ALC 1220 audio on it, and they upgraded the main GPU slot to PCIe Gen 5. I know some people get confused between B850 and B650E. B650E is technically the better chipset, just FYI. May not have better features, but in terms of PCIe Gen 5 GPU slot, you're guaranteed it on these. You're not guaranteed it on all B850s. You should check the specs before you buy. And then it's got a ton of rear panel USB connectivity, which I really like. And I think the board looks amazing. For RAM, I decided to go $5 more than the previous RAM kit. I was able to find the Silicon Power DDR5 6000 CL30. This is a 32 gigabyte kit with RGB on it. Looks amazing. It comes in black, or you can pick up the white kit as well. Hopefully we'll see some more DDR5 RAM deals out there. For the drive, let's go 2 terabytes this time. I went with the Silicon Power UD90. If you want to go out and get a drive with some DRAM on it, unfortunately right now, a lot of those DRAM, like more professional level drives, they're super expensive. And remember, you don't get any additional gaming benefits. Now, storage often goes on super sale during some of these Amazon Prime Day sales, so we'll have to wait and see. But this is a pretty good deal at $103. Now, for the PC case, I love the Lee & Lee V100, and it's $82. Now, the price on this has been ticking up. That being said, $82 is not a lot of money for a quality premium case like this. If you also want to go with like the behind the motherboard connectors, this supports it as well. It has 4 included ARGB fans. It looks incredible. Great airflow. We're going to top mount that 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler on this. It also does come in white if you want to do an all-white build. For the PSU, Montech, you were just doing such a great job with PSUs out there. It's hard to recommend anything else. Now, what we've done is we've gone up from the 850 to 1050 watts because our build wants about 950 watts. Basically, in the way that we calculate it, 1.5 times the max rated draw and PC part picker. This is ATX 3.1, PCIe 5.1. So 2 thumbs up there, especially if you want to get that 12 volt high power cable connector for the RTX 5070 Ti or 5080 instead. $104 is crazy cheap for this amount of power. So all told, I finished out at around $2,000. That's before any deals and discounts really. And that's with the RTX 5080. If you want to go with that 9070 XT, you can subtract $350 off this price. It's crazy to think about, right? Basically making it what, like $670-ish out there. Or if the 5070 Ti would be about $100 more. But you're going to get an amazingly performative 1440p or high FPS 4K gaming PC. It's going to be liquid cooled. It's going to look amazing. It's going to have a premium motherboard to it, 2 terabytes of storage, and an amazing PC case with an X3D CPU. I mean, come on, man. What do you want for $2,000? All the builds are linked down in the video description, and we're also going to include a list of some of the best deals that we find. If you got value out of this video, please give a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. And we'll catch you on the next one.